All right. Yeah. Hey there, everyone. And no one all at the same time. What's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk programming, app development, web development, freelancing, full-time jobs, things like that. For those of you who are just strolling on in, tell me where you're coming from, where you're watching from, what time it is over there in your part of the world. Hey. What's up, everybody? Sound. My sound ain't working. If you're on Instagram, tell me if you can hear my sound. Some people can. I think it's working fine. I think it's you, Omar. All right, everybody. What's up? Fran Carlos Castillo Robles. Bienvenidos, mi amigo. Dominican Republic. I think I've got some shoes from the DR. Seattle 1:30. What's up? Daniel Raj from India, 2 a.m. Good to see everybody. Happy Programmers Day. Is today Programmers Day? I don't even know what that means. Feel free to ask any questions, programming, app development, web development, freelancing, whatever. Today's particular subject is, can you earn more with a full-time job or freelancing? Which one of those things is going to make you more money? No, I don't know Arabic. I'm sorry. Watching from Tanzania. Welcome. I did start learning Arabic at one point, though, like in 2007. I was gonna become a translator in the military, but I decided against that. What's the best way to go about learning front-end web dev as an absolute beginner? HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React. Some of those salaries start in the United States around $75,000 a year. Do you have some good APIs to try? No. Am I Spanish? No, but I speak a little bit of Spanish. I understand a little bit of Spanish. I could go to Mexico and I could get around just fine. Yeah. I'm in New York City. Yeah, New York City, like a senior web developer in New York City could easily make $150,000 a year. A senior web developer in New York City. Nigeria, welcome, Temi. Hey, everybody. Yep. Feel free to ask questions, anyone. Programming, app development, web development, whatever you want to talk about. Is it possible to do this without a degree? I don't have any bachelor's degree. You do not need a degree to become a paid developer. In fact, I have taught over 500,000 human beings programming, and thousands of them have obtained jobs in the industry without having programming degrees. You absolutely can do it. Absolutely. jQuery, SAS, are they worth learning as a beginner? As a beginner, no. Like, if you become a freelancer later on, you might encounter some projects with jQuery and SAS. But now with CSS modules, you don't really need SAS all that much. Learn other things first. Those are just little things you can pick up along the way if you need them. No big deal. Flutter or native apps, depends what you want to do. Native apps have higher performance. They run better. Cross-platform apps, could be great for freelancing or for simpler apps or ideas. How much Python should one know to consider themselves intermediate level or advanced level? It's not about Python, my friend. It's about what you can do with it. It's usually a tech stack, Do you build APIs? Do you build web apps? What do you build with Python? It's not about the programming language. It's about what you can do with your tools. What would be the best way to develop an interactive touch kiosk on a video screen? Well, you would want to do probably like an iPad or, Android tablet and build an app for that. And then you just, it's easier with Android because Apple locks everything down. But on Android, you could even do some kernel level stuff where it removes the ability for people to do things on the device. So it just functions as a desktop thing. I have seen iPads used as kiosk device. And what they do is they put like they put a metal thing on it with a lock so you can't press the home button, since Apple refuses to have like different versions of their software for business. How important is aesthetics to website over functionality? Functionality, of course, is key, critical. If you could have the world's ugliest website and app, but if the UX was good, where it's designed to be useful and functional, super easy, where you got all your information the way that you wanted it, you could totally make millions of dollars with that even. Of course, you bring the aesthetics afterwards to make it look professional, but functionality and UX is always going to be more important than aesthetics. There are a lot of Python certifications out there. Which one do you suggest for graduates? Honestly, I don't recommend certifications for anything in the world, maybe except some of the AWS certifications, because they can get you jobs because they're really hard. What would you recommend to learn after you learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? Probably React, and then some backend stuff, maybe some Node, Mongo. Let's see here. I'm new to coding and I need to learn techniques that make able to build applications for all platforms in terms of web, mobile app, desktop. What's your advice? Flutter. Definitely Flutter. Node.js or PHP, which one's better for freelance? It's up to you. Doesn't matter. There's opportunities in both. Depends how you sell it. Depends what you're selling. Depends if you want to work hourly or build your own projects or build things for businesses. So Omar says he disagrees. Beauty over functionality. Well, I mean, I disagree too. Like, I like things looking pretty, but the numbers don't lie, right? That's what it is at the end of the day. People want things that add value to their life. If you have something that adds value to somebody's life, the aesthetics are going to come second. Hooks are not updated when any change in the nested object. Does native make sense for mobile freelancing? Daniel, it just depends. I know some native mobile developers who do great with freelancing. Some people like doing cross-platform because then you can build both platforms for a client. It's really up to you. You got to define your niche. You got to figure out who you want to be and what you want to do, and you'll have success. How can a graduate get a job as a Python developer without having certifications? Yeah. Seriously, you just had to have the skills. You need to pick a tech stack. It's not about the language. Pick a tech stack, get good with it, have value to offer to a company. Can you build full stack applications? Can you build backends? Like, you just need to get good with a tech stack. I'm an IT employee working for a year, but not happy with the job I'm working, and I want to move from this job. Which technology, what would you suggest for me to do? I would recommend programming. Programming is a job upgrade from IT. People in programming tend to make more money than IT people. What I found having worked with students at DevSlopes Academy is people who come from IT, they are our best students, the absolute best students. They have the most success learning to code and being a full-time programmer. So the next logical step, in my opinion, of IT is programming, becoming like a full stack web developer, a backend developer, whatever. From what should I start if I'm interested in programming? Could you give some pieces of advice on how to start? Well, play around with some different things. Play around with iPhone apps, Android apps, play around with web development, see what you like the most. You can do some free YouTube tutorials. So do a YouTube search for free, how to build a website, iPhone tutorial, iPhone app tutorial, Android app tutorial, and see which one you like. And then if you do like one, you can start finding courses and things like that. Why do universities teach OOP to complete noobs? No wonder so many drop out. In the UK, they teach it the worst. Yeah, well, universities are created by bureaucrats, right? Content is decided by a bunch of people with PhDs who don't actually really have any work experience. They just have PhDs, and then the next group of people get PhDs, and they get in a group together, and then the government comes in and they say, what should we put in our curriculum now to get your bachelor's degree or bachelor's of science? And all of these bureaucrats get together, and then guess what they do? They just find PhDs to teach the classes, even if they're not experienced. Check this out. I had somebody come to the DevSlopes Academy the other day who has a PhD in a computer science department. And they wanted to know more information about my program so they could learn how to code. Now, I want to say that again. I had a PhD teacher from a computer science department at a university in the United States of America come to me and ask information about our program and seeing if we could teach him how to code. Are you seeing the problem here, right? No, nothing wrong with that on him, but I'm just saying universities don't care about your best interest. They care about making money. They care about making money, and they're designed by bureaucrats, okay? You will never get a positive ROI for programming on a university degree. I mean, maybe that's not technically true. You could spend, a few years making up that $80,000 fee, but you know, I help people do that in less than a year, right? It's kind of silly. How does me learning AWS help me grow as a career? So AWS is a series of tools and technologies that help people build serverless applications, cloud applications, and there's huge careers in that. I've seen salaries go between $120,000 to $160,000 for AWS. I'm 37 years old. Is it possible to learn to code from scratch? It absolutely is. I brought this up the other day, but one of my students was 44 years old when he wrote his first line of code. And he now works at BMW, or he worked at BMW. His first job was at BMW building iPhone apps for their car interface after taking our program. It's absolutely possible. Absolutely possible. Let's go look over here. I'm 34 with no CS background. I know HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript learning. Is age or non-IT field will be a problem for getting a job? No, Raj, you're fine, man. You're totally fine. Just get better with code. Get really good with code, okay? What I've found in the industry is a lot of the younger people end up doing a lot of the UI stuff, fresh, cool UI stuff. But what we really need is people who are solid with code. We don't need 35-year-olds who just kind of fiddle with HTML, CSS, right? Like they want expert developers who know code in and out, who can solve problems, complex problems. If you can do that, you can get any job. It's not too late. The industry needs more solid programmers. We don't need more people who know HTML and CSS. You have to know those things. Those are just given things. You have to know them. We need people who can solve complex problems with code. That's what the industry wants. If you can do that, you can get a job. Easy. All right? Why do most companies use React function components with hooks instead of class components? So they're moving away from class components because hooks is just the way that React is pushing people. That's all. They're just moving. That React wants everyone to use hooks. Would it be worth learning C# and Kotlin after Python with Flask? Those are two completely different things. I don't know why you'd learn both of those. Just, you know, pick one or the other. Like figure out what you want to do. You know, C#, what are you going to do with C#? Or Kotlin, really, you know, Kotlin's great for, you know, Android apps. Just depend, what do you want to build? That's what you should learn. It should the things that you want to build. What websites can we learn coding? Just go to YouTube. That's free to start. Free coding tutorials. I've got some coding tutorials there. There's coding courses, all kinds. There's like cheap ones like Treehouse. There's Code Academy, Free Code Camp. There's a bunch of cheap ones, bunch of free ones. If you're serious about programming, you could, of course, join a coaching program like we have. It's the DevSlopes Academy. And basically, we're all about speed, right? So we give you the whole plan, the whole path. You don't have to fiddle around. You just go through it. You get coaching, mentorship, and we actually help you get a job. You can consider that as well. If that's something you're interested in, that's devslopes.com/apply. And we can work with you one-on-one until you are a paid developer. So, all right. What do you think about people who say market is saturated with web developers? You know, here's what I've learned, ladies and gentlemen. The people who say the market is saturated with this developer or that developer, these are the people that are struggling to get jobs. I see it all the time. Someone says to me, I know all this stuff, but I can't get a job. The market's saturated. Or someone says to me, I'm trying to do freelancing, but I can't get projects. The market's saturated. The only people who say that are the people who are struggling to get jobs. And the reason why they're struggling is because they don't know how to present themselves. That's all. Not because they don't have the skills. It's because they don't know how to present themselves. And then what they do is they see some developer charging $7 an hour in China, and they're like, oh, this is unfair. I'll never get a job competing with that. And it's because they don't understand the best way to get projects. They don't understand the best way to get jobs. And it's not to do hourly. This is a whole different subject, but the market is not saturated at all. In fact, we need more developers. The problem is a lot of people just don't know how to get the jobs, right? That's why you need coaches and mentors. You need people like me. Like, sure, you can go online onto YouTube and you can get the tech skills. You can go to Udemy and you can get the tech skills, right? And then you run into the problem of, I can't get a job. The market's saturated. The market's not saturated. You just need help getting a job. You need coaching. You need training. You need to know what your resume should look like. You need to know how to apply to the jobs. You need to know how to set up your portfolio properly, how to set up your LinkedIn properly. You need to know how to pitch clients for freelancing, like so many things. The problem is the market's not saturated. The problem is people are getting the jobs because they know how to do it. And that's what you got to learn, okay? It's not saturated at all. There are not enough developers to fill all the demands that we have out there, okay? How much would you price an Android app? This is a very complicated subject, but let me just say, me personally, I would never take on a project for less than $10,000. And you can be sure that any Android app I took on for $10,000, you know, wouldn't be highly complex. It would be fairly straightforward and simple. I'm 24, looking for a job. Do you have any recommended languages to learn that are in demand nowadays? Everything's in demand. JavaScript, Python, you know, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, .NET, C#, AWS, iOS, Android. The list goes on and on and on. The Vishnukant Prajapati. Hey, bro. Hey. All right. Do you recommend learning Node JavaScript for first? Maybe not. Depends what you want to do, Jody. I would learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, then learn Node. Or maybe if I just want to purely focus on backend, I might learn Python and Flask, then learn Node and Express, and learn some tools and frameworks for the backend, maybe some Docker or Kubernetes. Just have a suite of tools so I can start getting a job, things like that. Hey, bro, what would you use for a front-end clone of Pinterest? Bootstrap or only HTML, CSS? If I was going to build a front-end clone of Pinterest, I would use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React probably. Although one thing about Pinterest is it's highly SEO optimized, and single-page applications like React, they're not really optimized for that. So I'd probably have to look into some tooling, maybe Netlify or Gatsby, not Netlify, Gatsby or Next or Gatsby. Maybe see if I could build some systems there. If it became a huge problem, I might need some server-side rendering. Well, server-side rendering wouldn't work for the great SEO optimization either. That's a tough one because they use their systems as SEO, and single-page applications aren't great for that. So you might have to go a little more old school even, you know, maybe some HTML, CSS, jQuery systems. I don't know. Now I'm really curious how they actually build their systems. How long would you take to complete that $10,000 Android project? So someone asked me what I would charge, and I'm just oversimplifying this, but I would charge no less than $10,000 for an Android app. And I mentioned that you could be sure it would be really simple. That project I would have done in 2 weeks. I know that sounds crazy, but I would have that project done in 2 weeks. So if I couldn't complete the project in 2 weeks, I wouldn't take it on, all right? Because I want to optimize my time. And I'd probably be selling that to a business. So I'd strip down features, get it to where I could do the time, where I could get it in that range for those 2 weeks, have it delivered in 2 weeks. That's what I would do. And I wouldn't let the client add more features, things like that. You know, I have my niche, my focus. You know, that's what I would do, me personally, because I want to optimize my time and my money. Do students usually start freelancing while in the academy before they complete it? Yes, the good ones do. Especially in the Web Academy, especially, you can start doing freelancing right out of the gate with HTML, CSS. There's lots of jobs and projects like on Upwork for please make my website responsive, work on mobile. You can take those projects just a few weeks in the academy, okay? Bootstrap or Tailwind? I don't know what Tailwind is. Vue.js or React, they both do the same thing. Vue and React do the same thing, but React is way more popular. How much earning Django developers? Yeah, $120,000. You know, at a high end, $130,000. They probably could start at like $90,000. How much time does it take to learn front-end dev from scratch? In the DevSubs Academy, it takes between 8 and 12 months for people to get jobs. That's the reality for learning to code, right? If you wanted to become a comic book artist, okay, do you think if you took a 16-week boot camp that you'd be able to go get a job as a comic book artist? There isn't even possibly the amount of time that you need to have those skills, right? It takes a while. So 8 to 12 months at 3 hours a day, okay? If you don't put in the 3 hours a day, it takes even longer. 8 to 12 months, and you'll be ready to get your first job. And it pays well though, like $75,000 out of the gate. Which language is best for software development? There's so many languages, I can't even answer that question, okay? Let's see. Just looking at some comments here. I was trying Upwork for the past week, but no one accepted my proposal even after bidding half the amount. What to do? Help me, please. Okay, you're bidding at half the amount, okay? I wouldn't even hire you. Do you know why? Because we don't trust people who are cutting their prices down, okay? You need more confidence, Abhijit. No one's responding to you also probably because you're not sending out a great proposal. When I send out proposals, this is what I do. I find projects that fit in my niche, okay? Only the projects that I want to take on. And then I send a Loom video, loom.com. It's free, a Loom video. And I say, hey, Jennifer, my name's Mark, and I actually help small businesses like you build landing pages that get 30% more conversions. That's more money in your pocket. Also, I noticed that you mentioned you're using ads. Well, if your pages don't perform well, your advertisements actually cost more. Google and Facebook, your ad prices go up if the pages aren't fast. So I also deliver 97% on the Google Speed Checker, and I deliver these landing pages within 4 days. I'd love to get on the phone and chat with you. You send something like that, and then you get on the phone with them and you let them talk about what they need, and you present a proposal, and you come in with confidence. You don't say, I'll do job for half price, because I would never hire anybody who said that to me, okay? You need to come in with confidence. You need to pick your niche, come in strong, and add value. Don't say, please kindly consider me. I know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, Laravel, Node, Express, MySQL, React.js, Vue, Angular, blah, 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 blah. If you're sending out proposals like that, no one's going to hire you, okay? Let me just put it right there. No one's going to hire you. You got to bring value to the customer. They don't care about the skills you have. They want the end result, okay? Developers get this wrong every single time. They talk about what they can do, but nobody cares about what you can do. They want the end result, all right? Do I send an exhaustive text proposal with a Loom video? No. The first Loom video is about getting them on the phone, okay? Don't send a money proposal. Your job is to sell them, get them excited. You understand their business. You know what they're trying to do. You sell value in that Loom video, like a 2-minute or less Loom video, call to action. I'd love to get on the phone. I'd love to get on a Zoom call and talk more about this, okay? That's what the Loom video is for. Simple, short ones, okay? Hey, I just stumbled across you, but I know your cousin, Jason Brewer. Nice. All right, where were we? Do I need uni since I'm not that skilled? What? I don't know how to answer that. Is learning Kotlin and Swift a thing? Not really. I would not do that. I would not do that. I asked about the Android app price, but now for iOS, same thing, $10,000, no different. I'm just looking at comments here. Don't delete or set this live on private. It'll be public on YouTube for 3 or 4 days, so make sure you watch it before then. We have to take them off because our YouTube starts getting negative rankings when we leave these up because this just YouTube algorithm doesn't like the live streams on our feed. Do I send it yet? Do you think it's possible to do freelancing projects side by side with full-time tech lead role? And I mean big projects like fintech or e-wallet apps, both back end and front end. Mohammed, it really depends. So I had full-time jobs and then I was also doing my side hustle. You know, your time's really limited. You know, you want to take on things that aren't high risk, okay? So just keep that in mind. I'm currently a computer science student. I'm fully in software development. Should I consider shifting to a CS major or take CES advantages? I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry. When do you guys plan on opening up the Freelance Academy? Oh, so our Freelance Academy, where we help people make between $100,000 and $300,000 a year. The website's going up on Wednesday, so you can sign up for the early bird on Wednesday. So be ready for that on Wednesday. It's being programmed right now. Okay, it's being programmed right now. How to become an ethical hacker? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's just not. It's not in my realm. Everyone asks about it, but nobody actually does it. Like it's like, you know, very few people become highly skilled hackers, like employed hacker programmers, like the white hat hackers. you know, they can make like $300,000 a year and get huge contracts with like Microsoft or the government, US government places. But it's insane amount of skills you've got to have. You've got to be so dang good at programming and math and problem solving. It's a long journey. It's a really long journey. React Native versus Flutter. So I don't like React Native. I've used both of those professionally. React Native has so many problems right out of the box, so many compatibility issues with web frameworks and JavaScript. It's cool, but literally it does not work out of the box. Flutter is the most amazing development suite you'll ever work with. Anyone who works with Flutter will never want to go back to React Native. It's just out of the box, it runs. It's perfect. You click a button, it exports everywhere. No problems, no compatibility issues. It's just beautiful and fantastic. I love it so much. So, yeah. Yep. All right, today's topic was, can you earn more in a job or freelancing? So if you get a full-time job as your very first job, you can anticipate around $75,000 a year in the United States. I'm talking about full-time job here. All right. When you get to senior level, you're looking at between $130,000 to $150,000 a year. That's for common technologies, you know, like web development, iOS development, Android development. Okay. Now, if you go into blockchain, let's say you become an expert programmer with the Go programming language, and you're super interested in blockchain and peer-to-peer gossip protocols and things like that, the salaries can get up to like $350,000 a year. There's lots of money in cryptocurrency and blockchain right now. So if you wanted to like make some serious cash in a full-time job, like $350,000 a year, become an expert with blockchain and the Go programming language or blockchain and C++, okay? Huge opportunities there. Or you could go with Ethereum and Solidity as well too. Just become an expert at blockchain. You need both. The expertise in blockchain plus the language itself. There's some huge salaries for that. Even outside of blockchain, I've seen some Go programmers, expert Go programmers for jobs like $250,000 a year. I've seen jobs in network programming at game studios for about $250,000 a year. It's very complicated stuff, very complicated stuff. But I've seen some salaries go up there. Software architects, you know, can get up to $180,000 to $200,000 a year. I've seen that as well too. But for those common tech stacks, you're looking at a cap of about $150,000 a year, and a lot of those. So then we have freelancing. Now with freelancing, you're going to start off making less money because you don't know what you're doing. But if you master it, the sky's the limit. You can make $300,000 a year and just work normal hours. It just depends how you work, what kind of things you work on, how you pitch yourself. You know, there's so many things you can do with freelancing. And maybe it's not about the cash. Like maybe you just want to make $150,000 a year, but only work 10 hours a week. You can do that with freelancing, which is pretty awesome. So freelancing offers some time and money, but you don't get security. You get no job security. The only job security you have is the job security you create through your sales pipeline. Okay. Now, with full-time jobs, you get a guaranteed paycheck, right? So that's what you get, the guaranteed paycheck. But you have the caps, right? You have the salary caps, you know, 150,000 probably on average. So those are just a few different common things with jobs between freelancing and getting a full-time job. Luis is asking, is it possible to get a mid to senior job after a boot camp? So what I train my students to do is to not say that they're entry level or junior. What I train my students to do is get really good with code. Do freelance projects, put it on your resume, 3 to 5 freelance projects, and just go in as a mid-level developer, not beginner, not junior. I have them do a few projects and I just have them start applying, because if you apply to enough jobs as a mid-level, eventually you're going to get into one and then you're set. If you say you're junior, those jobs are very hard to find and no one wants you. There's very few people who actually list junior jobs. And it's just like freelancing, right? People, what they want at the end of the day is they want a result. So a company that's hiring, they want a result. They want somebody who's good. Okay. So don't scare them by putting junior on your resume. Just put iOS developer, web developer, whatever, without the junior, and apply for mid-level jobs. Okay. I cannot stress that enough, how important that is. If you say you're a junior, it's gonna be very difficult to get a job. Get really good, and then just apply for jobs without saying junior. Coding for 3 hours a day for 8 months can land people a job. That's right. That is exactly right. That's what we do in the DevSlips Academy. 8 to 12 months, you're capable of getting a job if you spend 3 hours a day. The problem with most people that you should know is that are not taking a program is they don't do it. They'll do like 3 hours in a day. They'll skip 2 days, and then they'll do another hour and they'll skip, and that destroys everything. Every day, Monday through Saturday, no matter what, you need to spend 3 hours, okay? If you don't, it's gonna take way longer. So yes, 3 hours a day, 8 to 12 months, you can get a job and you'll be good. You'll make $75,000, and 8 to 12 months is a very short period of time, right? Like you're making more money than a nurse does, and a nurse has to go to school for 2 years, okay? You'll be done with this in 8 to 12 months. And if you do stuff like we teach, you make money along the way as a freelancer. We teach our students as you're going along to do freelancing, and you can make cash while you're doing that, which is awesome. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this up. I do this Monday through Friday at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you're interested in working with me and my team, learning to code in iOS development, Android development, or web development, and you want coaches like me working with you one-on-one, and we work with you until you get a job. You don't get kicked out like most boot camps. We actually work with you until you have a job. We also help with freelancing as well too, making cash. Then go to devslips.com/apply to learn more about our program and how we can help you have success. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you all here tomorrow.